Awesome. Guys, welcome back to Raising Autism. I am your host, Ella, and we are back with Miss Danae. How are you this morning?
Hey guys, I'm doing well. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's a slow morning. Everyone's still sleeping, so I'm like,
Oh,
this is nice.
those are the best.
Yes, it is. So I did want to dive into a little bit more of a discussion with raising probably all children in electronics in a sense.
Fair enough.
But this one is more on newer divergent kids and electronics. And we know there's some benefits and there's some cons with electronical devices. So I just want to jump right in and say, what was the biggest benefit as far as having electronics with your
Yeah,
daughter?
absolutely. I think we talk about this often because the world we live in, going from a pre-COVID world, during COVID, and post-COVID world, if you
Yeah.
will. I think everyone saw the benefits on being able to have the capability to still communicate with other people,
Yeah.
to still feel involved in the world, if you will. And specifically for Danielle, her tablet offers as an AAC device, so it helps her talk when she's either not in the mood or can't find the words that she wants to say.
Right.
It generally helps her create sentences, or it acts as a walking like photo album. So when she is trying to describe something, she can quickly go find a picture and say, well, this is what I'm talking about. So hands down, being able to communicate and stay social is the benefit that we get from it.
Awesome. And then on the flip side of that, because we always want to discuss the cons, what's the
Absolutely.
biggest concern for you then with the electronical device and the fact that she's a neurodivergent individual?
Of course, I feel like anything that works really well has the potential to be a crutch. And that's anything, just like we talked about AI a couple of weeks ago. All of these resources are just that when they're not abused, for lack of a better word, or when they're monitored and you have to put time constraints on it. So
Yeah,
for Danielle, I would say specifically, it's the need of feeling like reliant on the tablet when she can communicate without it, when she can, socialize without it. So I think sometimes it's like a resource that could hurt when there's too much reliance on
on
that.
that,
And
right.
then specifically, one thing that came to mind when she was a little younger, she was probably about 6 or 7, and we're working on her handwriting skills. Well, it came from one of her doctors that said she had a hard time gripping the pen and or pencil because she's so used to this
Yeah,
motion
right,
of
right, right.
holding a device, a tablet, a cell phone, whatever. So when it came time to really crack down on like writing words and writing letters. She knows them, can say them, recite them, spell things, and read. It just was a little tougher on her because she's used to typing. So much
Exactly.
easier to hit the keys versus even us texting back then, and you had to hit the button 3 times to get to a certain letter to get to see. So I mean that's also I would say a con because having 50-50 and having a balance there, she probably wouldn't have
Exactly.
struggled as hard trying to get that grip right.
Exactly. That's a big concern. Actually, now that you mentioned it, I do see a lot of, we try to say not normal, but that's what
Yeah,
they base them on, normal kids, where they
exactly.
actually don't really know how to write because of that.
Yep.
Because of the fact that they're putting them on tablets so early, they're losing that one skill, that one trait, that we were
Now,
raised on.
exactly. Even when you go to a fast food restaurant and you want
Yeah,
to go place an order, it's few and far between that you still even have a live person to communicate with, to say, I'd like a chicken sandwich or I want this to drink.
exactly.
Whereas you have to go in and use that tablet, use that touch screen and place your order in there. So it's a 50-50 toss up of yes, it was great. And I think that it's amazing to have. But at the same time, we got to stay with the times. And if McDonald's is
Yeah,
using a tablet to take orders, then we must know how to order our food.
exactly. So it has helped her significantly. So what's her journey looking like now with these devices? How has she advanced from when she was smaller to now?
Now, I think that the tools just constantly grow with her. So before it was sight words, now it's, things that are more to her age appropriate level, 11, 12, She is building more. like greater sentences, I guess,
Right.
having more content within them. And then we talk a lot about in speech having passes. So having a conversation is one pass. Hi, how you doing? What's your name? Well, my name's Danielle. And going back and forth. And typically before she would only make about two passes.
Right.
Greeting, we said, how was your day? It was good. Conversation's over. So now
Done.
you can see the levels of building up, and now she's thinking about things more than just open-ended questions, not just yes and no. She can ask an open-ended question and then answer an open-ended question. And I feel like that has been a great help with her trying to build on that. And then even on just not the educational side so much, but her social side, I think
Yeah.
all kids at some point want to be an influencer in some way.
Yes.
So with that aspect, sometimes now as she's older, I see her with her unicorns, with her toys, doing the whole like, look at what I
Look at
have.
this. Yeah.
And it's allowing her to grow and to show her own spunk and her own character. So I think that's really cool to see too.
That's like a big step into like social activities too. Not a lot of people in this present day and age are comfortable socializing, so seeing
Yeah.
that is amazing.
It's like socializing with a bunch of your virtual friends because it is a little different than sitting in a room or a group of people and saying, hey, look at these new clothes I got.
Yeah,
But allowing her a safe space to do so, to be social without everyone kind of looking at you while you're doing it.
exactly. So how has it helped, you would say, regulating emotions and like being comfortable and even stress relief?
Oh, absolutely. I think that everyone, like I said, from adults, children, but especially neurodivergent children, need that calm space. They need that comfort toy, that comfort activity. For her, it's Subway Surfers. She's had a rough day. She just wants to go and catch coins, and that's okay with me, and I'm okay with that. So I think everyone has an outlet, if you
Right.
will, with some type of digital surrounding, whether it's watching a YouTube video, you have a favorite TikTok person, you're watching YouTube shorts, even if it's a podcast, just like we're doing right now, it's all able to be accessed from the internet and from tech.
Exactly. I know I've asked this before about like her favorite music, favorite artists. Has it changed recently to where she's like watching, for example, on YouTube, in a sense of like educational influencers on there?
She definitely liked the Miss Rachel's when it was more age appropriate for
Right.
her. I think that she does like this young lady named Caitlin. She was on a show on Netflix, like Love on the Spectrum. And she's
Oh,
actually an adult with autism who teaches young adults and adults with autism kind of some tips and tricks of how to deal with certain things. And she finds her really engaging. And then there's this other young lady who's about the same age as her. And I want to say her name is Presley, and she's
I
obsessed with
think I've heard
purple.
of that before. Yeah.
And I think she thinks Presley's her sister because they are so alike. They're very different still, but they're so alike. And she's such a sunshine, like a ray of sunshine. And anyway, Presley's not nonverbal, but doesn't speak as much as some people who are verbal, just like Danielle. So
Right.
anyway, I think she sees the commonalities, and every representation matters, right? So she's a young
Exactly.
black girl. Like Danielle's a young black girl. She's like, oh my God, Presley, like everything's Presley. And I'm like, Danny is just like Presley. So I know that those things really help her feel that she's not by herself,
I
especially with her
love
being the
that.
only child. So sorry.
I can see where the sister connection comes in. She's like, I'm the only one, but I see someone like me.
Exactly.
So, a lot of parents, even the categorized normal kids, tend to
Yeah.
use electronics as a reward or a motivator. So, what's the pros and cons in your opinion on that?
Specifically for my baby girl. And I know not even just Danny, but a lot of my babies in my family that are neurodivergent. Again, it's that catch 22. It's a blessing and a curse. Yes, we want to be able to reward you for doing amazing job. You did a great job in school. You overcame something that was rough for us to do last week, and this time you did much better. So absolutely, here's reward. But with neurodivergent children, transitioning is very hard. So putting times on things I know was a struggle for me to say, okay, you get 5 minutes of tablet or you get 10 minutes, and then you come when that 10 minutes is over and it is a power struggle. It is, okay, well now we've done that. Check.
Right.
Let's move on to the next task. I know that they all have a tough time with the transitioning and they feel like, well, now you're taking something away from me. But how Danny and I have moved past it, and my nephews and I, it's kind of like that options giving. Okay, well,
Ah, I
we
like that.
cannot have the tablet anymore, but we could go read a book or we could go make a snack. I'm going to give you some other alternatives because life is like that. Let's be real. We don't always get to do what we want. But I think
Exactly.
that autonomy, they want to feel in control of what they're doing. So giving those options and re-prompting things sometimes helps to kind of break that away. So yeah, it's a reward for you. It's a tool for you, but because it has so many purposes and names, it's kind of hard to lock in, okay, this is educational time. This is free time. This is, let's work on your words time. So,
I like that. If you had to give a parent who just recently found like their child is on the neurodivergent spectrum, what signs indicate that screen time is just a negative impact right now as
yeah.
far as like their behavior, sleep, or just daily routines?
It could be a number of things. Honestly, I would say that you know your child better than anyone else.
Mm.
And when you see behaviors that are not normal or that have been increasing because of an action, so everything's kind of cause and effect, and we all have to do
Exactly.
our own science experiments, even with our children. And we're watching and observing because observing is part of that scientific process where we're like, okay, Danielle, you've been on your tablet more recently late at night or at 8:30, 9 o'clock, what have you. And then in turn, or the effect of that cause is you're waking up cranky and you're being very mean.
Yeah.
Just as a simple example, or the fact that sometimes, of course, with the screens, with the screening up there, like the parent screens, you're watching things that not all the time are necessarily bad for you, but like we don't say certain words in my house, So we don't say upshut. So, so to hear that, it's like, ma'am, where did you hear that? Where are we getting that
Exactly.
language from? Let's go ahead and we're not going to do that anymore because that's not how we should be conducting ourselves and how we should be talking. So it's just monitoring, it's observing, and then it's being understanding of both sides because she is growing. I can't keep her away from the word forever. However, it's explaining things to her like, okay, you're going to see this word and I can't keep you in the bubble forever, but when you do, this is how you react.
And this is what if you use it, this is what happens when you use that to someone else. I do like that.
Yeah,
I like that. So,
exactly.
has there ever been a time where it has caused like unnecessary conflict for you, like in the mornings when you're trying to get her ready for bed, ready for school, or just any activity you guys are trying to do that day?
Absolutely. We would do like sometimes if she had speech or we had to wait on the bus, I'd give you the tablet and then behaviors happened from that. And then it came time to during the week before the bus comes, it's no tablet till after school. We can watch whatever is on Disney. We can watch, something educational. We can listen to some music while we're eating breakfast and waiting on the bus. But absolutely, those triggering things of where this becomes more important than the task. And then I'm constantly saying to myself, well, Danny, focus, focus. And clearly this is taking her interest or her focus away from what we should be doing. So it's simple redirecting of we're just going to cut this whole portion out and we're going to try something new. And trial and error is big too, because you don't know until you try it. So if something's not working, try something else and then continue it.
Nice. Are there any like educational apps you could share with us or other parents who are just tuning in? Any online
Oh,
learning tools
yeah.
that you would recommend?
Right now, she's super into Starfall, which is an educational app. I think they all kind of have the same rhythm and rhyme that they're teaching core subjects, math, science, social studies, what have you, colors, recognition, but you get to play games while you're doing it. I mean, for us back in the day, I remember it being like Fun Brain online when we first got the first computers and stuff like that. But Starfall is a big one that she likes now. What is the other one that she likes to use or that we did use before? It was the really big name one, not Kitty Academy, but there's tons. Starfall is her best one right now. Um, oh, I cannot think of it at the moment, but there are a bunch of learning apps and things that you can use just for them to have fun with.
I like that. If you had to go over like the difference between that one specifically that she does like, what do you see in there that's like a little bit different from the other ones?
Oh, absolutely. Well, they have unicorns, so there's that. There's that. But a lot of the other ones are based on your grade level or your age. And
Ah, okay.
Starfall is not. Starfall is based on your learning level and your comprehension level.
I
So
like
yes, I
that.
think you can still put in kindergarten, first grade, second, what have you, or your age. But basically, you have to do like a little, it's like a quiz, but it's not really a quiz. It's a game. And within that first game, they kind of place you to what level you're comprehending at, and then allow you to play games and build up to the next one and the next one. And then it actually connects to my phone, so I can see when she's hit a
I like a
landmark or a
goal.
quota.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So I love Starfall.
I like that.
It's fun for her.
Has
She thinks it's just games.
well, that's a good thing though, because you never want
Right.
kids to feel like frustrated or filled with anxiety
Hmm.
when they're doing what I would say homework, which was honestly terrible.
Yeah.
In my generation, it was awful because there was always a homework for anything, but making them feel what's the term? Like for me with math, I always wanted to feel like it was fun. Math
Absolutely.
is terrible to me, but I always wanted to feel like I was having fun doing it because that's like how I learn.
Got to
And I
make it
can,
relatable to something that you're
yeah,
interested in.
exactly. So has there been, funny that I mentioned anxiety, was there a time she felt anxious or frustrated or just over everything when being on her tablet or just any electronical device?
Absolutely. I don't know if it's because she is a preteen girl and just dramatic anyway, but the screen freezes, we're melting down. It's stuck. I have to reset it. We know how to do everything on it, but full reset or like cleaning it. So that's frustrating. Or sometimes it's the learning aspect. And I think that's where Starfall became a benefit because even with her teachers and speaking, they're like, I can't get her to run in PE. And I'm just like almost shocked. And I'm like, what do you
That's
mean?
funny you
She runs
mentioned
around
that.
my house like Roadrunner, but she won't run in PE. So then we start talking, we start putting our heads together, and her PE teacher says, I got it. I figured it out. I brought all my kids' stuffed animals from home. Her kids are in college now, so she grabs all their stuffed animals and sets up like this little relay race just for Danny with little unicorns. Oh, she ran for those unicorns to get each one. So I really just think that one, amazing job as the educator, saying I'm going
Exactly.
to get this information or I'm going to get this task across any way that I know how. But yeah, she gets frustrated when she's trying to learn like her peers are learning and it's not interesting to her or there's no connection for her.
Right.
So same thing with the tablets, just like we're doing live in school is like, how can I get 1 plus 1 to make sense to this person? If it's one unicorn plus a unicorn, for me, it had to be money. I didn't like math either. So when it came down to, don't you want to know how much this sweater is off when you go in the store? I was golden.
Yes.
I was like, yes,
Yes.
I do want to know.
It's funny you mentioned PE because that was actually my next question. How does it impact your like physical being or just overall health? And it's
Yeah.
very interesting that's what the teacher came up with. I like that a lot.
Me too. I was like, oh, you're smart. That was really clever. I think that's like you said, it's kind of all kids, but specifically neurodivergent kids, they're not outside like we were.
No.
That's just not a thing. They don't have the want to really be out in the elements. We would make fun out of a stick or a leaf, whatever
Right. Or like
your
mud pies.
imagination. So again, the blessing and the curse. It's there. It's amazing where we are in life, but at the same time, it's taking a day to say, hey, we have a whole nother world we haven't even touched outside of this virtual world that we're in. So yeah, her teachers are amazing at doing PE. I'm taking tricks from her book this summer with stuff. So I've been gardening a lot and then having Danielle have the unicorn fairy garden. We
Oh
went and got some
my, I
little like,
love that.
yeah, some little like knickknacks from the dollar store, and she doesn't really care to come out and garden with me. She'll watch, but she doesn't really want to have anything to do with it. Not that she
Right.
doesn't want to get dirty, but now when we have fairy little houses and unicorns, it's creative. And I'm teaching her like you can grow things, like this is where we get our food from and things like that. So I think we just have to think outside of the box that we've kind of been stuck in the last few years.
Exactly. I love that. It makes me think that she's probably going to be a D&D girl. I
I
could
could
see
so see
it.
that. She
I
has the
totally
whimsy
see
about
that.
her. Yeah.
I'm excited to see that progression. Hopefully she is because that's big for me.
I love it. I love it.
So what misconceptions from then to now have people had about not only autistic but neurodivergent individuals who are just strongly into electronics?
Well, I think it's easy to see the negative more so than the positive, especially when you're not living in it, right? So
Yes.
outside looking in, all you see is a child that has had their tablet for a long time. Or you're in a waiting room and all you walk in and see now is children like kind of engulfed in this digital world, but you don't see why or the positives. You like for outside looking in, you only see the negative effects. Or
Exactly.
if I'm sitting in a waiting room and I'm like, well, it's your turn coming up, can I have that? And she's like, well, no, I want it. And they see the interaction but not understanding what
Why?
happens exactly, why we're having to talk, or why instead of just like some parents snatching it out of her hand because I said so, that I'm actually taking the time to teach and train and coach my child as to why. Like I was one of those children. It wasn't that I was defiant, but if I didn't understand why, it was kind of hard for me to do something, or it was hard to get me
Exactly.
to do something. And it wasn't because I didn't like authority. I genuinely wanted to understand the big picture. Well, Danielle,
Wow.
you're coming up, and it's not very nice to be stuck in a tablet when someone's calling your name and you need to be engaged. And that's what people miss instead of just seeing, like, I know
Another
she doesn't
tablet
raise her
child.
kids
Yeah.
because they've only been on the computer for, hours now. So I think that's the biggest misconception when it comes to tech and comes to children with, that are neurodivergent. It's like you don't really see the other half.
Do you think that individuals who are always in their electronics, that's like a incorporation into the tech world for them, like as far as like a career opportunity?
Absolutely. It's all in what you put into it, right? Because
Yeah.
there are the people who just want to watch, just to be there, to listen, to learn. But I think a lot of people who are like that, if you're watching the same influencers, it's probably because it's sparking that interest and you don't know how to take the first leap.
Right.
Or on the programming side of things, you're interested in seeing updates and how buttons move and how platforms actually work like I do on the marketing side. So I like a lot of numbers. I like to see how things, how people react to things, and then playing off of that. Okay, well, this got a lot of views, or this was really liked by most people. So it's a game for me. But I do, yeah, feel like a lot of those people who spend a lot of time on tech end up knowing a lot about it just because you're utilizing it
Yeah.
all the time. Like some of these kids probably know the algorithm of Google better than we could ever hope.
Honestly, honestly, 100% so. At that
Yeah,
point, I think a lot of influencers should be hiring them at this point because they're on it
agreed.
so much.
Yep.
That's amazing. So I like always, always, always doing a wrap-up question. So, do the benefits of electronics outweigh the drawbacks for neurodivergent individuals? And in your opinion, why or why not?
Yeah, I would say yes. I do feel like they outweigh the bad, if you will, or the negative aspects of it, because for the simple fact, not everyone learns the same way. So
Precisely.
and especially people on the neurodivergent spectrum, and we keep saying it's a spectrum because it's so wide and
It's
so
so vast, guys.
diverse, like a rainbow. Um, so having the technical aspect of it allows us to service this entire spectrum, which inclusivity and acceptance is everything that we're working towards. So yes, but
Yes,
like all good things in moderation.
absolutely. I love that. Her answers are always so like just to the point, guys. I love it. I just like hearing her speak. Her answers is actually really calming.
I like hearing your voice. It's so like Tabitha Brown, but very Ella, and I love it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wait.
Call
I've
me.
actually heard that before.
Yeah, so voiceovers and all of the things. I want to see you in your first children's movie.
Goals, guys. Okay, goals. This is the third
Manifestation.
person who told me I should do voiceover. Okay, I need to figure this out.
Got you. We'll figure it out together.
But guys, thank you so much for joining us today, and I will definitely see you guys again next week. We're all feeling better. It's summer. Stay hydrated, please, because it's ridiculously hot. It's like 90
Heat
something
waves.
today.
Hmm.
Um, and stay cool, guys. Thank you, and
Take
see you next
care.
week. Bye bye.